She like a boss, yeah, she run the game. Stacking her paper, ain't chasing no fame. Ice on her wrist, but her heart stay the same.
Welcome to another episode of Unspoken Truths with Jobby. Listen, I'm happy to see you. I hope you're happy to see me. Oh, listen, we have a great guest tonight with us, Miss Darlene Saint, man. Y'all give her a hand. Wow, here we are again. Another episode of Unspoken Truth. And this episode is titled Still I Rise. Listen, we are happy to have you. Listen, I just want you to tell your story. So listen, do me a favor and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, of course, an entrepreneur, a woman of God, and regular old country girl.
That's it.
Regular old country girl.
So what I want to know, what are some of the businesses you have?
I have in-home care service. We have a location in Bunkie, Opelousas, and Baton Rouge. I also, and it's called Serious Caring Companions. I have a funeral home in Bunkie, St. Edward's Funeral Home, and we have a liquor store in Missouri City, Texas.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
a
just
lady of many businesses. That is great. That is great. I'm happy to see it. So quick question. What would you consider some of the ups and downs of having not one, not two, but multiple businesses? What are some of the ups and downs that you face typically on a day-to-day basis?
Right now, well, of course, after COVID, it's really hard to find good staff, good dependable staff.
Right.
That's one of the major issues that we run into with all the businesses. Another issue is just staying on top of everything. A lot of early mornings and a lot of late nights.
Day-to-day operation.
Yep, day-to-day operation.
And a lot of people, business owners, especially in today's time, because nobody want to work. And when they do work, they give you bare minimum.
You're
So,
right.
I mean,
Exactly right.
I understand that. So, in your early years, what kind of did you wake up one morning and say, "Hey, I want to be an entrepreneur," or how did that come about with you?
No, I've always known and wanted to be a business owner. I always known as a child that I wanted to do something and I wanted to do something big. I didn't exactly know what it was or what it would be at that time, but I knew I wanted to do something really big. I grew up in Lemoyne, Louisiana, and an older gentleman, he would always tell me, he would say, "You are such a pretty girl and you're going to do big things. You're a very special girl." He used to tell me that all the time, and I believed it.
So he was speaking life into you as a
That's
child.
right. That's right.
I mean, sometimes all we need to hear is you can do it, and
Yeah.
that's. So, what was your first business you had?
The first business that I had was Darlene's Medical Transportation.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think
Really?
I may have been 19, 20 years old.
Oh, so you started young.
Yeah, I did. I started really young.
How did that work?
It was amazing. The work was good. The staff was good. The pay was excellent, and so that changed. Dealing with the state programs from year to year, it does change, and of course, they don't increase. Usually,
Yeah,
they
they-
decrease. Yeah, they decrease.
So, I have a question. You successfully launched multiple businesses in different industries. What gave you the confidence to just be like, "Hey, I want to start a business"?
Well, when I started Sylvia's, the one of the largest businesses that I own, I was working at the VA, and I started out helping on my free time, helping elderly get on this particular program. And everywhere I went to assist with the program, when the social workers would come in and do their interview, they would always say, "Do you work for a company, or do you own a company?" And it was like, no. So I started looking into it and praying about it, and that's what made me decide that this was something that I needed to move on.
Wow.
I was good at it, to be honest.
So what sacrifices? Because I mean, that's the thing a lot of people don't realize is that even with having businesses, it takes so many sacrifices.
It
Like,
does.
I used to hear people say sometimes it's blood, sweat, and tears. Like, you have to actually want to be an entrepreneur. It's not something you can just give bare minimum to. So, what was some of the sacrifices that you had to make just to be able to not only own a business but to sustain it? A lot of people start companies, but it's to sustain it over time. That's the hard part.
You're exactly right. A lot of people may not know this, but usually when you start a business, and even along the way, usually you're the last person to get paid. They think, oh, she has plenty of money, but usually you're the last person to get paid. You're up with the headaches and the like I said, the real early mornings and the real late nights, and you're taking a lot of time away from your family, your loved ones. You're going to give 100%. Most people give 100% on a regular job, but when you're working for yourself and building a business, you're giving 150% plus. So, yeah, it's a lot.
So would you say it was ever a point in that time period where when you started, because like I said, the sacrifices is the getting up early in the morning, staying up late at night, and then the last one to get paid. And sometimes you're starting a business in the beginning and it doesn't look good. It's always like you're fighting, you're barely breathing. It's like what kind of kept you grounded as far as saying, this is going to work. I just have to keep going.
Yeah. What helped me and what kept me grounded, I'm gonna be honest, prayer. I did a lot of praying, and I did make a lot of sacrifices. I had some support systems in place that helped me with my children, because a lot of times I was stuck in the office reading, going over rules, going over bylaws, policies, and procedures. And it takes a lot of time, and you don't need any distraction when you're doing that. Right. So it's just, that's what it took, prayer and perseverance, because that, it was hard. It was actually hard. But I must say this, when I started out with Sylvia's, it was hard, but when it started growing, it grew like wildfire. It just started and it just took off. So and that was all God.
Would you say, at what point did you say, okay, you know what, now I feel the fulfillment?
I felt the fulfillment once I knew the program, I knew the policies. I felt confident within myself to talk to auditors when they came in the office. I knew when they would step in, whatever they asked for, I could give it to them. And everything was running smooth, and the clientele was steadily growing.
Okay, so, every segment, we have to throw in a shade question. Do you feel like it's easier working or letting people work for you that you don't know, or that you do know? Is it easy to hire family members?
Well, it's easy. It's easier to hire family members, but it's not always the best thing to do.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest about that.
Because, a lot of entrepreneurs, and rightfully so, it's blood. So it's always like, I feel like I'm to the point where I feel like I have some success, and I feel like good things are coming behind it. So ultimately, the first thought is
to help family.
I want to help my family.
Yes.
Do you think that in the process, family is more easily to take advantage of you than people you don't know?
Of course, but I would say this to anyone that has a business. When you hire your family, treat them the same as you would hire a stranger, and everything will work out a lot better. Everything will run smoother, because let that family member know there's no sidebar, there's no exceptions with you being my sister, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle. Treat them as the rest of the employees. You have to.
So, what would you say was your first disappointment when it came to being an entrepreneur, having a business? Was it something specific that happened that you were like, man, like, I don't know if this for me? Did you ever have that happen to you?
Yes, I have had that happen to me, and I'm pretty much an open book. I'm not ashamed of anything that I've been through or anything that I have done in my life. Um, when you work in an agency for the state, you have to be very mindful and you have to know what you're doing. And you should have a lot of money on the back end because you never
Just in
know when
case.
they're not gonna just not submit your, pay you,
Gotcha.
So it came a time where the state was like holding back on our funds. We would bill for maybe $200,000 and had a payroll for $180,000. And the state may send us $10,000 for their pay period.
And you got to find a way to make do.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. You either send your checks out, let them bounce and go pick them up, or don't pay your people at all. So that's a big decision that you have to make.
Wow.
That's something you have to make, yeah.
Listen,
A lot of people.
We'll be acting out confusing.
Nothing but smooth sailing tonight.
Anything that you want
from me is my delight tonight.
welcome back. I hope I didn't keep y'all too long. Listen, we still with our guest, Miss Darlene Saint Romain. Y'all give her a hand. Wow. So before we left, you were talking about just the ups and downs of dealing with the state and payments and all these, paybacks and things like that. Would you consider that if someone wanted to open up a business or start a business, would you tell them, okay, anything dealing with the state, that would be something I would target or something that I would stay away from?
Well, if that's where their heart is, if that is where their heart is at, I would tell them to go ahead and move forward with it, but just to be prepared. Be prepared. Even though you have a line of credit, it will get eaten up like that. So just be prepared. If you're gonna open a business and it's paid through state funding, just be prepared.
So with that being said, it seemed like at that point in that season of your life, it was a lot of sleepless nights.
It was. It definitely was, because I had a lot of single mothers that worked for me. And I was there. I was a single mother working 2 and 3 jobs, trying to make ends meet. So that bothered me, not to have their money on time, not to have their payroll on time, or to even think that I have to ask them to wait another week to get paid.
Because you
and
don't
stuff
know
like
their,
that.
you
That's
don't know
right.
their situation.
You're exactly right. You don't know that
And that's one of the hardships of owning a business, is because not only you want to be successful and you want to have the fulfillment of whatever you're doing with, but when you have people that's under you that work for you, it's not easy to tell them that I can't pay you today, knowing that they've already done the work. So not only is it that, but it's just the thought process of, well, man, they bills may be due tomorrow, and they was depending on this check.
Exactly.
So it's almost like you have to go and deliver the news that, hey, you need a kidney. I can see how that can be hard. So would you say, having to deal with that and come out of that season, what were some of the things that you say you learned just dealing with, not only dealing with, the state or, but with people? Did you say, okay, you know what, maybe in this situation I could, approach people like, hey, we may not have the deal, but we'll have it here. Did it ever get easier?
No, that never gets easier, to tell someone, okay, I'm issuing your check, but can you hold it until next Friday? Or can you hold it until Wednesday? That never gets easier, And sometimes it just happens, it does. Dealing with the state, things like that happen. Or if you're depending on someone else to do your billing and they don't put it in correctly and you don't get the money that you're looking to get. And a lot of times the money on the back end that you put up for a rainy day is just not enough. Yeah. It's just not enough.
So fast forward, we got out of that trial, we got out of them tribulations. the funeral home. We end up building a big, beautiful funeral home, and it is beautiful. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Thank you.
What came about to say? Because, I mean, as someone just thinking about a business, waking up one morning and say, I want a funeral home. Granted, I think it is a great investment because, unfortunately, we all have to go.
You're right.
So what came into the mindset of, I want to build a funeral home?
Well, I guess when I was about maybe 13 years old, when I started going to funerals with my parents, and I'm gonna be honest, the funeral homes that we went into,
Back in the gap.
yeah, they just didn't look like the funeral homes that I went to with my
It wasn't
other
comfortable.
friends.
Right.
Yeah, so I just always had in the back of my head, one day I'm gonna build a funeral home, and it's gonna be inviting and appealing to all walks of life. I want people to come in and feel comfortable, and to not feel that overwhelming, especially when my mom passed. When you walk in there, you get this overwhelming feeling, and most of them have a smell. As a child, I thought it was death,
Yeah.
but it's embalming fluid.
I thought
Yeah,
so
it was
too.
embalming fluid. But when you walk into my funeral home, you're never gonna smell embalming fluid.
So it was
Yeah.
even though I know you're dealing with this hard time, I want to give you as much peace and comfort as possible.
Exactly. I want them to feel comfortable when they walk through the door. I want them to be calm. I want them to know that we are here to help you with every aspect of this situation as possible. Because we have every walk of life, of every different type of walk of life that you could think of on staff. We have singers, we have preachers, we have social workers, we have psychiatric folks that help people in a time of need. So we have people on our staff that can help them with anything. We have insurance agents, just everything you think you need for a service, we have them on staff.
So would you say that being able to render that specific service, do you feel that it brings you closer to your community? Or is it just, I'm here if you need me?
Well, both. I feel like we're here if you need us, but it has brought me closer to my community. And I'm going to be honest, most of our funeral services come from the outskirts of town. For some reason, people you have known your entire life, people that you have worked with or was raised up with, they may choose to go to a different facility.
That brings me to a question. Why do you think it's so hard for the people that you've been around all your life, maybe that you've helped in the past, that
Definitely.
you have never done anything wrong to?
Definitely.
Why do you think in our community it's so hard to get the support of the people that you would think would be the first one jumping in line to say, hey, I got you, I'll support you, or things like that? Why do you think it's so hard for people to do that?
To be honest, I really don't know. People have told me that people watch how you live. They watch what you drive.
Jealousy.
That's what they taught me, but my mom never taught us that. So some people can't understand it, but I have never had that envy and jealous.
Favor ain't fair.
Exactly.
It's not fair. But
And I work my butt off. Nobody has ever given me anything. I've been working since I was about 10 years old. A real job. I don't know if you knew Mr. Herbert Talley.
sound familiar.
Yeah, well, they were some elderly people that lived down the street from us. And I was 10 years old, and I was taking care of his wife after school and on weekends.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 years old. So I've always had a job. I've always worked.
And that's the thing. It bothers me sometimes to see how everybody, they see your glory, but they don't know your story. Like,
They don't.
They see what you drive, they see what you live in, but they don't know how sometimes you have to cry yourself to sleep at night.
Exactly.
Or they don't know how many times you were sleepy on the road just trying to get somewhere just so you can take care of business.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. And another thing, they see the different businesses, but most business people always have something else in the back corner to kind of help take care of home. So sometimes I kind of fidget around with trading. I do a little trading every now and then, and it helps, kind of leverage things out. But most business people don't just have one income, one stream of income. And a friend of mine taught me that a long time ago. She said, you can't just depend on one stream of income. Don't never look at it that way. Always have more than one. And I have always did that for the past maybe 10 years. Yeah, I actually when I in 2020 I went to Houston and I started setting up a clinic for a physician, and I worked for him even though I had my own business, but I made good money working for him. What he paid me, I could pay my bills and my I didn't depend on the business to take care of home.
And that's the thing. Like I said, a lot of people don't know. They just
Assume.
you're assuming that this is the light, but you don't know that I'm back here and I'm grinding and I'm sweating while you sleeping.
Exactly.
I'm working, and that's why I say we have a lot of people that have dreams, right? But they can't put it in effect because they can't get out of their own way.
Exactly right.
And I've seen people, that I would consider successful, and they were getting it out the mud. Like they were grinding, they were working other jobs, they were doing this and that. But like I said, everybody wants your glory.
Yeah.
But they don't know your story.
They don't.
Fast forward with the trauma part of your life. What were some of the things that got you through the hardest part of your life?
Prayer, close friends, and some family. That's what got me through it. God, prayer, close friends, and family. I have friends that are so near and dear to me. They're closer than a sister. I mean, they have went leaps and bounds for me, and I'll do the exact same thing for them. If I've had a lot of sleepless nights, and I still do. And I have friends that would stay on the phone with me until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep, and they just couldn't stand knowing that I couldn't rest.
So, it's no secret. A couple of years ago, I lost my mom, right? And that was a period in my time in my life where I was uncomfortable because I've always seemed like I've had control over my life, and that was one of the seasons in my life where I was lost for a while. What's some of the things that you would consider as far as, of course we pray, and I'm a big believer in prayer.
Yeah.
But sometimes you pray and it just seems like it ain't working.
You're exactly right. When I lost my first son, I'm going to be honest, I was angry with God. I was really angry with God because I just couldn't understand it. I just couldn't understand it because you may say, or this one may say a lot of things about me, and most of the time it's not true. But I felt like God know me.
Know your heart.
He know my heart. He know what type of person I am. How could he let this happen? That's how I felt. And I felt like someone just reached in my chest and just grabbed my heart and yanked it out. I mean, it was like I wanted to die. Anything, nothing mattered. Anything could have happened and I wouldn't have cared to me. I wouldn't have cared.
And we often find ourselves saying, I just wish I could have traded places.
Definitely.
But, I'll say this. Even with the trauma, what got me through is knowing God don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
And I've heard this all my life.
Yes.
God doesn't make mistakes, but you just feel like some people are just going to be around. So that's one that's really one thing that kind of just got me through is just knowing that. And you know, we tend to be selfish sometimes and be like, well, God, I need them here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I remember maybe 2 days after, you know, my mom passed, and I was in the bed and I was like, Lord, you could have took anybody else. We tend to say things like that, but it's so selfish because, like, he need them more than we do, and that's hard to say.
It
but
is.
he makes that decision. So what? As far as, because you know you still a mom, you still a grandmother. You know you still was all those things. How hard was it to get up and still? Because we all got everyday operations, right? How hard was it to get up and still try to be Darlene,
Yeah.
even through that pain?
That's what I need to say that to my children and my grandchildren. Help me, you know, because I knew that I needed to be strong for them. I knew that I had to get up for them. I knew that I had to motivate them, because when I break down,
The whole tribe
everybody
breakdown.
breaks down. And I remember at my first son's funeral, I know I screamed and cried, and when I heard his son behind me cry, I just shut it down. It's like he's more important, you know. That really got my attention. I need to be strong for this baby.
So after that, then you end up pretty much helping his son, taking care of his son.
Yes,
Correct.
yes.
Was it a point that you were like, you know what? I just have to block out everything to make sure he's straight.
Definitely. When I'm around my grandkids and my kids, I make life seem as normal as possible. Even on Facebook, everything is normal as possible. They know I love my sons and I miss them, but I seem extremely happy, and the world is great. But at night when I go in my room and close my door,
You have to release.
oh God, I have to release. I have to cry out to God. I don't have a choice because I've been holding it in all day. You know, you feel like you're drowning and you just can't come up. And then when nightfall hits and they're in their room and I'm in my room, I can pray and cry and of course still question God. I still do. I still question him. You know, I can't help it because a lot of times I still just can't understand it. I just can't.
Fast forward. You end up losing another son.
Exactly.
And I'll say this, and I'll say it publicly. It's not too many people that can actually deal with that much trauma. You know, people have trauma, but to have to deal with it in such a short period of time, most people will look at you and be like, I don't know how she's still sane. So that's a testament of not only your faith, but that's a testament of what God can do. Because listen, it's no human that can have you sitting here with me today talking. It's no human that can have you to the point to where you can just still get up and not take your own self out. Right. So what is it that you can just say that is keeping you to this point? Because you may look at yourself because you know and be like, I'm barely making it.
Yeah.
But to people that know your situation, it's like, that is a superwoman.
Yeah, they don't understand it. I get that all the time.
Yeah, that's not a normal person. Like, that's a superwoman. And to be able to deal with that and still have your businesses, take care of your grandkids, like, even though it's pain involved, like, your story is literally glory to the testament of just not only your character, but your faith. Like, so what was it was it in that point in time that you just say, you know what, I just got to lean on God because it's nothing I can do?
You're exactly right. And when it started, it's like it was almost like a domino effect. I don't even know if you know this. I lost my my oldest son in 2020, January 5th. The 2022, 21, I lost a young man that was like a son to me, Alan Preston. Right after that, 21 was Alan, 22 was Derek, my brother, that I helped raise. And then my baby, Tevin, in 2023, Christmas Day.
So before you can heal from one.
It was just back to back to back to back. And I know I had went numb, but I was still talking to God. And like I said, at first I was real angry with him. But I knew I had to pick myself up and keep pushing because of the look on my grandbaby's face. You know, it just, all of them, and I forgot this part. When I lost my first son, my youngest daughter, she had a baby and she went into this overflow of postpartum depression where her mind is just not functioning right. It's just completely out of whack.
So you didn't even have time to take care of Darlene.
Oh no.
You had to.
Terrielle, Alan, Derek, then Tevin. Because Terrielle is not the same person she was before all of this. I can't hold a conversation with my child like I used to because she's not the same person. So I felt at that time, like I lost 2 children before I lost Tevin. Yeah, so it's been rough. It's been rough. So I'm raising 3 kids. I'm Terrielle, 2 girls, and Terrell's son. Of course, now they're right at teenagers. One of them is Terrielle's daughters are 12 and 16, and Terrell is 14. But I'm raising them. But on the other side, I was just going through the motions of living, getting up, doing what I had to do, go to work, take care of the kids, cook, and do.
You didn't have time to grieve.
No, I didn't. And then I wasn't really thinking about life. I was just doing what I needed to do.
To make sure everybody else was around you was straight.
But I must say, and we're not really dating now, but we're still friends. An old school friend, Aaron, he came into my life and he turned everything around. I'm going to be honest.
He was right on time.
Yeah, he was. What a friend of ours said, an accident on purpose.
Sometimes God put people in your life, even if it's for a season, it's for a reason.
You're exactly right. Exactly right. We remain friends, we're good friends. And I love him. He loves me, and I can talk to him about anything, and I don't have to bug my girlfriends as much, but it helps to have somebody that, like when you break down, he breaks down, but he also lifts you up because he prays. He prays for me and I pray for him. And I'm going to be honest, I've been married twice. And I have never had a man that I was married to or dating to pray for me or pray with me. That seems so unusual to me. But it helps.
That was a whole lot of information. And you know what? And that's the thing. Like, even when you came to my mind about, coming on my podcast, from the outside looking in, of course, I knew the story, right? But you know how some people, they just make it look good. So, and unspoken truth is, like I tell people, the vision that I have is, I don't mind showing you my pain, but you're going to see where I came out of it. You're going to see, well, hey, and some people, they might not be all the way out, but they're striving. And my thing is this, it just take one step, make that one step. And that was one of the things that actually drew me to your story, because like even when I see you, I see you from time to time in Walmart with your grandbabies, and you always got a smile on your face. And I always say, if you want to know somebody's character, see if they smile when they're in pain. Yeah. If I can smile when I'm in pain, that means I plan on coming out of it.
Yes.
So and like I said, just to see how you constantly speaking life into yourself, like that's what's gonna ultimately suppress or make you come above all those trials and tribulations. But man, your story it's immaculate, because like I said, I don't know too many people that could have dealt with what you dealt with and still striving, still moving. So what I want to do now, I want to do rapid fire with you. You know, I want to ask you some questions, and I just want you to just whatever comes to your mind. One word that describes your journey.
Hard.
One lesson that you learned the hard way.
One lesson that I learned the hard way. Not praying before I make a decision.
Powerful. One book, a scripture, or quote that changed your life.
To whom much is given,
Much is required.
much is required.
One thing you wish more women knew about Darlene.
I'm friendly. I'm very friendly, and some people seem to think that it's hard to approach me.
What are you most grateful for today?
My grandchildren and my children.
That's so beautiful. When your story is all over with, what's something you want them to remember about Darlene?
Job well done. She always gave it 150%. And she loved her grandchildren.
Wow. Listen, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And I want to show my appreciation to you. So, Unspoken Truths, we got you a gift. It's gift time. And we appreciate you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So now what we want to do, y'all know how we end this segment. So I want you to look at that camera and talk to your younger self.
Okay, what I would say to my younger self would be to take your time, be more kind to yourself, live life to the fullest, travel more, and love on your family members more.